So, Shivin, I have been told that you are doing your bachelor's in business economics, if I'm not wrong.
Um,
Right?
I graduated last year.
Last year, sorry, 2022. And then you have joined Bain Consulting, right?
I joined Bain Consulting, but now I left it. I'm
Yeah,
switching to BCG.
BCG Matrix. Great. So, you have some plans for further studies, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, I was a little confused between masters or an MBA, but I have my options open both in India and abroad as well.
Mhm. So, are you appearing for CAT this year?
No,
So primarily, I can say that either you will continue with your job for another 1 year, or probably you might also apply to a few master's course relevant for your kind of curriculum, right?
it's preferably an MBA, but yes, if not an MBA, then probably a master's.
You know what I'll tell you, Shivin, that when you're looking at MBA programs abroad, majorly they require 2 to 5 years of work ex.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and if it's 5 years, out of that, they will say that 3 years should be at managerial capacity, right? So that is a kind of a barrier that we are looking at. But in case you're planning to apply to other programs, for example, let's say you want to apply to MS Finance or MSc Finance or MS Quantitative Finance or probably strategic management or human resources. So, you know, those kind of programs, master's programs are absolutely open. They do not require any work as such. You can apply. Only a few programs, like for example, UC Berkeley has a MSc Finance program, a quantitative finance program. It requires a little bit of an professional experience, around about 2 years of professional experience in the same field. Otherwise, most of the other programs are open for all kind of freshers. They will definitely have a look at your background. And also, I saw that you are preferring two countries. One is United States, the other is United Kingdom. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, United States, you'll face barrier number two, which is 15 years of education. So,
6 years of education, you mean,
yeah,
right?
so that's what I said. In India, we have 15 years of education, right? You
Mhm.
completed a 15 years of education.
Correct.
But then there they require 16 years of education. So what we can do in that regard, in order to cross over that period, you can look at a WES evaluation.
Oh, what evaluation? WES.
So WES, WES, which is World Evaluation Services. It basically calculates your GPA and the credits, the transferable credits. So if the transferable credits are more than 120 in a graduation course, then that course is equivalent to a course studied in United States. Okay? However, certain universities, in spite of that, will refuse to give admissions to a 3 year graduate, but most others will accept a best evaluation score. So if you are like quite stringent towards US, then probably you'll have to spend a little money. You have to go and get a WES evaluation done. So you have to register for WES. You'll have to pay around about 25 to 27 odd thousand, and then they will get you evaluated. And with that report card, you can go to South Campus and you can ask South Campus people to send the scorecard to your set of universities, targeted set of universities. So they will do that. So they have a format, they have a system, and they can send your scorecard, and it makes it more relevant. However, you can send it personally also, but sending it through university makes it more relevant. So that is one way. Second way is that probably you can apply for a master's course here in India. You study that for 1 year, okay? And then you send your application to US University because by then your 16th year of education is complete. So that is process number two. You do not have to complete that course. Just after completion of the first year, you can ask for a transcript, and on the basis of the transcript, you can send your application. So these are the two ways of overcoming the barrier of 16 years of education. UK is very, very open. So we have no barriers there. The only thing that you have to look at is that some programs might ask for a GMAT or a GRE score. Most other programs, only one or two programs will ask for a GMAT or GRE. Most other programs are open to everybody. They do not require a test score. You can apply. US, typically all universities, they will say that GRE or GMAT is non-mandatory but preferable. So are you planning to write a GMAT or a GRE this year?
Yeah, I'm pretty much inclined towards it.
Yeah, you
Also,
should.
just one thing more, like when you say like masters in India, like you mean right what IIM Ahmedabad does or ISB, right? Something.
No, 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 no. When you're looking at a master's program, it would be one domain of a managerial program, specific one domain of a managerial program. For example, as I said, I might go and do a master's in strategic management, or I might do a MSc finance, or I might do a MA in human resource. So these are specific domains of an overall MBA program. Okay.
I
So these
understand
are,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so these
Hmm.
are majorly meant for freshers. Or exactly what you can do is you can apply to institutions like HEC Paris, Grenoble, St. Gallen's, etc., where you can look at a MIM program, which is a Master's in
Masters of
Management.
Management.
You know? But then you've already done a BPE program, so MIM won't add much of value. A general management program, कोई value add नहीं करेगा. Rather doing that, why we can look at a specific program. So do you have any specific interest like finance, yeah, IT, yeah, international business, or something like that?
Probably strategy only.
Sorry,
Probably
strategy only.
strategy only. Yeah.
Strategy only. So if you're looking at strategy, UK has a wide variety of programs towards strategy. Majorly, they do strategy and innovation, or else they do strategic management. So these are the two varieties that they have towards strategy. And for both of the programs, you do not require, per se, a GMAT or a GRE score at most of the universities. Although some of them, one or two of them, might ask for a GRE. So that. And when you're
So
looking at, sorry, when you're looking at, IBS, your Indian Business School, ISB, sorry, Indian
ISB.
School of Business. If you're looking at that, then obviously you'll need to carry 2.5 years of work ex in order to get into their MBA program because you've missed the bus for the deferred program. We could have applied for YLP when you were in your final year and we could have secured a seat. But as you've not done that, and another twist in the story for ISB is that now they will be overtly careful about the challenges that you're facing in your present profile. And this job shift also, it has to be justified very properly because you will have to show them that there were lack of challenges probably at Bain and there are further challenges or more learning or more education or a better environment, kind of challenging environment that I'm getting at the other company, their basis of argumentation. Otherwise, they prefer to have people who are into one job for at least 2 to 3 years and getting at least one or two promotions. So that is a preferred thing for ISB Hyderabad. Uh, but still, I mean, obviously, if you have a good GMAT score, which is 700 plus, you already have a great CGPA here. So with all of that, you can definitely apply. And in terms of your overall profile, overall learning, obviously, I understand that you work for a company which keeps you busy most of the time. But in spite of that, are you trying to learn a few more things beyond what you've studied?
Yeah, yeah, I'm really open for it. For example,
For example, let's say we do a course on, say, R or say SAS or those statistical softwares. Because when you go to strategy, those statistical softwares come very handy. And today, almost every program requires you to be technically viable. So if you've done a R or a SAS kind of a course along with what you're working at, makes a lot of sense because then it shows your motivation towards further movements. It shows your motivation towards the course also. So, overall the profile will get a little more exciting because it is very tough with a company like Bain to do something beyond that. And if you're showing that motivation, that should be good enough for the university. Plus, if you can take up some kind of community service for at least.
Just a second.
Sure, sure.
Sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you can take up some kind of a community service, which you might be executing probably during the weekends consistently for,
Uh,
let's say, 8 to 10 odd months, that will add amazing amount of value.
Ridesh, I'll just cut to the chase actually. So I understand these volunteership services, and I have been associated with a couple of them, probably be Help Age India and stuff. And I understand like the prerequisites of a decent resume, what makes it stand out or a stellar one. So a couple of questions that I wanted to point out, like the reason I was very inclined towards this was, um, so when you say masters in India, like I really want to be sure because like when you talk about IIM Ahmedabad or something, that they don't provide an MBA or something. So the degree that's PGDM, which is equivalent to a master's degree. When you look from a like a broad perspective or something or the other, I was very like strongly like not pro against a cat or something, but yeah, very much like by this year want to be done with my GMATs. And yes, obviously, I'm sure like I've also like done my research and I have been doing it stringently for a large amount of time. Very excited for an MBA. The reason for masters won't because a lot of my seniors have gone to UK. But yes, they also have like within 2 years, if you're not able to secure something, blah 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 blah, according to their resume, you have to come back to your original country as an immigrant. So I've seen a lot of issues in terms of masters like facing abroad. But yes, when it the numbers significantly drops down when it comes to an MBA, which makes me inclined because obviously it's a large amount of money which gets invested in the end of the day. So that was the approach with which I was approaching. And so I was earlier thinking, an ISB like versus an LBS MIM or an LSC MIM is probably at the same level. So
Uh, Sorry,
Sure,
but I'll
sure.
just intervene here that wherever you go for an MIM, wherever, even if it's Harvard or an LSE or whatsoever, yes, it comes close to the standard of a 2 year MBA program at ISB, but it is close and it's not equivalent. It's
So
not.
like ISB stands lower according to you, or like
I always say that ISB 2 year program against a LSC 1 year or a 9 month program obviously is more exposure. Okay, it has more weightage and it is a standard 2 year program
ISB has 1 year
and standard
MBA.
1 year program. Okay? So if you look at that program and if you look at the coordinates of the program, the way they are teaching and the kind of stuff that they teach, and if you match it with the LSC MIM, there are a lot of differences in the uh, you know curriculum. In fact, so that ways I would still prefer to get into an ISB. Also, looking at the present situation of United Kingdom, the financial depressions, we are at a far safer place. So 9 out of 10 will go for ISB Hyderabad. Probably 7.5 out of 10 will go for LSE. For a MIM program. Had you been there for a different program, like for example, let's say you apply for a 2 year MBA program at Chicago Booth or probably somewhere else. Yeah, that will definitely edge over ISB Hyderabad, but LSC MIM, I'm not very keen.
Exactly. So I was also very keen for masters in MIM. Like I like in my second year, I was very much keen into it. But I spoke to a lot of seniors and all when they told me about the employment opportunities post graduations, even for a St. Gallen something, because Switzerland doesn't have a lot of commercial corporate sites. You'll have to look out for opportunities in France, Spain, or the neighboring countries, be it Greece or something. So I was like very keen into it, but then obviously I had to drop master MIM or probably like if you want to go to US, it's called MSc because they don't have an MIM over there. It's a very UK concept. So I was very keen on that earlier. So this is the reason I'm probably not so keen for a master's, which I was earlier. So that's why an MBA would make much more sense. So I was very much depreciating ISB in my mind, but yeah, it makes sense. It's actually I think I'd place it over masters, right? So
Absolutely. So,
so that's something. Mhm.
I was also looking at some programs in UK which are typically MBA programs. And universities like King's, or say universities like topmost universities. Okay, so they have very decent programs. I mean, I don't know if you've checked them out. Okay, I did. So if you're looking at King's or say Warwick, King's doesn't have a typical MBA program. It has an executive MBA program which requires a 10 years of work experience. But the rest of it, like Warwick or say Leeds, Manchester, etc., all of them, Edinburgh, Birmingham, Southampton, Cardiff, Bristol, Durham, everybody has a good MBA program, and some of them are ranked very well. Like for example, if you look at Edinburgh, it is ranked 15 in terms of the university, and the course is ranked 9th across the world. So makes a lot of sense actually.
Something I was about a little perplexed about was how Cambridge and Oxford came with their MBA programs very recently. Like the Syed Business School of Oxford also came up with their. So I was very keen to know about that as well. Like, what's your take on it? Because like most of the people I've spoke to, they were like, UK is not known for the business sides. Had it been any further course in UK, like, but still would want to know your take on it.
Definitely. Look, when it comes to business, father of all obviously is going to be United States. ठीक है उनके पास ज्यादा बिजनेसमैन है ज्यादा obviously environment. But the only problem is that with the business program which is not STEM, no science,
Hmm.
technology, engineering, maths, I am not going to get a job search visa. So that
You're
makes
not
it
gonna get a what? I'm
you're
sorry, your
not going to
voice is
get a yeah, you're not going to get a job search visa. Okay,
okay. Yeah.
OPT. They call it OPT or optional practical training. So if you do a STEM program, your optional practical training is for 3 years. But if you do not do a STEM program, then
1 year.
it is 6 months to 1 year. And in that period, they might ask you to pack your bags and leave if you don't have a job. Might be a scenario. Okay? So the spending is definitely very high, but the learning also is tremendously high. So that is one part. But yes, if you're applying to UK, and if you're applying to say Oxford or Cambridge for a B school program, I am definitely keen on it. No doubt about that. The competition is going to be severe, no doubt. But then the kind of people that are studying with you, they will not be typically from UK, and they're very resourceful people who've seen the struggle all throughout. And that is why they're at Oxford or Cambridge. So placements per se or networking per se shouldn't be an issue. Just the same way it happens at ISB Hyderabad even. Because placement is not an issue. ISB Hyderabad doesn't have a placement cell. उनका कोई placement cell होता ही नहीं है. The program is not meant for placement. It is just because that people come here, meet others, and who might be sounding very resourceful for their own businesses or for their startup plans or something. They network, and then the new journey begins. Similar to this, things will happen at Oxford and Cambridge also. So that way, in spite of UK being not so a preferred country, but these two will have a killer, stance. Also, London Business School, LBS. So LBS, Oxford, Imperial, Cambridge. These four makes a lot of sense. Okay, just give me a moment. I'll probably just show you. चलो कोई नहीं. That is how my take is. Anything else that you have?
Just a couple of more questions. So, like, when you talk about an Oxford MBA versus an ISB, like PGDM, what was your take on this? Like,
Uh, Very tough to take a call, but it depends on a lot of factors. You have to assess the UK situation a little more patiently. It is right now what we say is a graveyard situation. I have family living in UK, and it is not sounding very. Believe you me, if you've been to UK earlier, have you been there? So anybody who keeps on traveling to UK, you meet them, if you ask them, in the last 5 years, what are the changes that you've seen in London itself? You'll be shocked. Not even one shop, not even one shop.
Not even one shot?
Not even one new shop came up in the entire vicinity of London metropolitan. It is typically the same since the last 10, 15 odd years. Nothing moved. So this depression is probably a bottleneck which is opening up now. Has been there. The last government had to move out because of this financial situation. So it has been a long, stressed, hidden kind of a fact which has now been brought forward to the entire world. And so obviously that makes situation here in India far better than them. We are at a developing stage. Opportunities are galore. And with the startup culture coming up, we are at a far better situation. Far better situation. And also, if you look at the kind of spend that we have there, definitely काफी ज्यादा spend होगा वहां पर. Tough call है. But still looking at the present situation, if you're applying in 2023 for a batch of 2024, then in that situation, probably I would have gone for ISB Hyderabad as a safe play, if not anything else. Obviously, the brand value of Oxford and Cambridge are nothing to be beaten apart, but I'll also have to look at the value of money that I'm
Yeah, absolutely.
putting, and my ROI cannot take a beating out of it. तो या तो मैं यूएस
Also,
जाऊंगा, सॉरी,
hmm,
या तो मैं यूएस
please, please.
जाऊंगा या तो मैं इंडिया वर्क कर दूंगा. सीधी सी बात है, क्योंकि यूरोप की भी सिचुएशन वैसे कोई ग्रेट तो है. या तो यूएस जाऊंगा या कनाडा जाऊंगा या फिर इंडिया में पढ़ लूंगा. आई एम फाइन गोइंग टू दीज कंट्रीज. ठीक है, चलो यूएस में भी डिप्रेशन है, ऐसा नहीं है कि यूएस में नहीं है, लेकिन स्टिल इट इज नॉट एज बैड एज इट इज इन. और यूएस का डिप्रेशन हमें पता है, वो एक इकोनॉमिक सिचुएशन है. एक जो रिफॉर्म होता है इकोनॉमी का वही चल रहा है. नथिंग मच बियॉन्ड दैट एंड इट विल मूव आउट एंड दैट डूइंग प्रीटी वेल. But in UK, if you look at it, in fact, their own inhabitants, their own citizens are struggling for jobs. जॉब में मूवमेंट नहीं हो रही है, सैलरीज नहीं बढ़ रही है. £30,000 अर्न करना एक फ्रेशर के लिए इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी अ जॉब. इट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी टफ. एंड इफ यू डोंट अर्न £20,000, योर वीजा विल गेट रिवोक्ड. एंड £20,000 में वहां होता ही क्या है? बेयर
Hmm.
मिनिमम लिविंग कॉस्ट निकलते 12-13 हजार पाउंड तो आपका लिविंग कॉस्ट है. बस वही नहीं है उसमें. उस हिसाब से आईएसबी फार बेटर है. आप एक साल में खत्म हो जाएगा प्रोग्राम. नेटवर्किंग बहुत जबरदस्त है. स्पेंड उतना हाई है नहीं, रिटर्न बहुत जबरदस्त है. तो मैं आई
Expensive
ऑलवेज
as
लुक एट
well.
आई ऑलवेज लुक एट फ्रॉम द इकोनॉमी फैक्टर. क्या मैं पैसे कितने डाल रहा हूँ, मेरे को मिलना क्या है और मेरे को लर्निंग क्या है. सो इन दैट सेंस आईएसबी इज प्रीटी सेफ.
But is it pretty expensive as well, right? It's 40, 45
In
lakhs.
Indian
Half a
standards,
crore.
yes. In Indian standards, yes. But then you look at the other costs associated. Living in London, traveling to London, food and everything else. If you calculate that, so that way is, you're going to save at least 15-20 lakh rupees. 15-20 लाख रुपए तो कम से कम डिफरेंस आएगा ही आएगा.
Also, like one quick question, since you understand the markets really well. Um, so what happened, like once I was leaving Bain. So my first option, so it's a very job related question, okay?
हाँ हाँ.
So I was very keen ki I don't care about the company, the next company I'm going to. It's about I want to move to Dubai. So a lot of Bain alumni are just leaving their jobs for startups in Dubai. And I'm a joke you not, like a partner at Bain, the partner is a senior most position,
हम्म,
probably earns around about once a year.
हम्म,
And like my friends were getting offered because they were MBAs, right? So they were getting offers from Dubai around about 80 to 90 lakhs being non-taxable. Here, like it's gonna get taxed to around about 60, 70 in hand lakhs, by the way, of a once year income any day. So like why would like people not prefer to like go to a B school? I know it's not that reputed anything in Dubai, but the salaries, the packages, it's amazing. It's galore.
yes. Frankly, I'll tell you what. My sister-in-law has been living in Dubai since 20 years. So I keep on traveling to Dubai on and off, and I've seen the job market there. So what happens is that yes, the offering seems to be pretty good, a non-taxable income and everything else, great life, no doubt about that. But yet, if you look at the work culture, if you look at your learning environment, and if you look at their economic situation, they are not at a very healthy situation. Okay, oil has dried up, tourism has taken a backseat. Now, what they are trying to do is to allocate citizenship to people so that more and more people come in and stay at Dubai and their GDP goes up. Okay. So they're in a very twisted, I mean, I will say borderline situation. Any given day, they again might find themselves in a very, very strange situation in terms of, you know. तो रिस्की टेक, 2-3 साल पैसे कमाने हैं, चले जाओ कमा लो। 3 साल के बाद क्या होगा, नो बडी नोस। नो बडी नोस, ठीक है। अपन बहुत सेफ सिचुएशन में है यार। 10 साल बिताओ, 20 साल बिताओ, अपन का कोई हाल भी बाका नहीं होने वाला। या तो एकदम मस्त है, कुछ सही रहेगा। बट दुबई, probably I would not be very keen. And then this is going to be your last piece of your education system. Entire
Mm.
life, right? This is going to be last. So people will call you by the brand name of your institution throughout your. So that has to be always kept in your mental frame. So if you're working with Bain, tomorrow if you're working with KPMG, you cannot afford to get to a B school in Dubai, which has probably no sense, or I mean, has no presence in any mind of a corporate. मतलब कोई भी चला जाएगा ना यार, कंपटीशन है नहीं, आप समझो ना। हम रूल तो यही
Mm.
कहता है ना कि जहाँ कंपटीशन हाई होगा वही जगह अच्छी होगी। आपने अपना ग्रेजुएशन भी वही सोच कर किया था। तो दैट इज हाउ इट इज। तो बीबी वैसे दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी आई अंडरस्टैंड, बट व्हिच कॉलेज वाज?
CVS.
अच्छा, कॉलेज ऑफ वोकेशनल स्टडीज।
Yeah, I took coaching from Prathama. Like,
अच्छा, ग्रेट ग्रेट ग्रेट। ठीक है, सो देयर आफ्टर यू आर डूइंग प्रीटी वेल। पता है क्या मतलब, अगर पर्सनली अगर मैं आपकी जगह पर होता, अगर केपीएमजी मेरा होता, ठीक है, मैं अभी जल्दबाजी कुछ नहीं करता। मैं आराम से लेता इस चीज को। लाइफ में अभी ना बहुत छोटी उम्र पे हो, तो बहुत सारी जिंदगी में आगे पड़ी हुई है ना। तो आपको वो सोचना पड़ेगा अभी इतनी जल्दी क्या है लाइफ। आराम से 2-3 साल का वर्क एक्स लो, एक प्रमोशन लो, और फिर आप अप्लाई करो। प्रॉपर एमबीए प्रोग्राम के लिए अप्लाई करो। यूएस अप्लाई करो। आप अगर स्टे चाहिए तो आप कनाडा अप्लाई करो, ऑस्ट्रेलिया अप्लाई करो, जहां मर्जी आप अप्लाई करो। लेकिन 2-3 साल का आराम से वर्क एक्स लेके फिर आप अप्लाई करो। इस बीच में अगर आपको अभी दिखता है कि यार वहां बिल्कुल भी पेन में मेरे को चैलेंजेस नहीं मिल रहे थे, केपीएमजी मिल रहा है, बहुत अच्छे चैलेंजेस मिल रहे हैं, सैलरी ग्रोथ भी अच्छी हो रही है, मेक सेंस, है। लेकिन इसके बाद मत करना। ये नहीं कि अब 6 महीने बाद या 8 महीने बाद फिर आप शुरू कर दो। ऐसा मत करना, तो आपका प्रोफाइल बिल्कुल खराब हो जाएगा। उसके बाद 5 साल भी तुम काम करते रहोगे ना तो कुछ नहीं होगा। क्योंकि एवरी मूवमेंट दैट यू आर मेकिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ जॉब चेंज, that has to be justified. You will be questioned in your interview as to why you did a change so early in your life. You'll have to be very patient. And you might find a lot of examples of your seniors or super seniors who've done the same. But the way they would have answered, or the way they think, or their perspective about it, that might be very different.
makes sense.
So वो आप देख लेना एक चीज। दूसरा, जल्दबाजी मत करो। आप जीमेट लिख लो, देखो स्कोर कितना आता है। If it is 700 plus, apply this year. If it is not 700 plus, wait.
So
Until
obviously, like, so I've given like mocks and all. मतलब like, मतलब apti is pretty decent only, तो आ
obviously,
जाएगा. मतलब that's not an issue. So
great.
I was trying to get into like ISB. फिर आज इस साल ही तक apply कर देता हूँ, September तक I was thinking.
तो इस साल तो कैसे होगा, क्योंकि वो तो बोलेंगे कम से कम, देखो बेयर मिनिमम अगर उसका एवरेज देखोगे, क्लास प्रोफाइल देखोगे, तो 2.5 ईयर्स का एवरेज एक्सपीरियंस
So what ISB has, they have three programs for getting into their premium. So they have the YLP, then they have EEO, which is an early entry option program. So what it says ki like even if you started your work experience, and if you're between 0 to 2 year wale work ex
है।
bracket
ब्रैकेट
mein
में
can
हो,
apply, so you can apply. So I
तो
was
आप
planning to
अप्लाई
apply
कर
for
सकते हो। उसका ना क्लास प्रोफाइल चेक कर लेना एक बार। जब आप क्लास प्रोफाइल चेक करेंगे तो आप देखेंगे इट इज ऑन एन एवरेज इट इज 2.5 ईयर्स।
no 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 no. So they have three programs. One is
या द
YLP.
ईओ दैट यू आर सेइंग। ओके।
Yeah, so EU में उसी ब्रैकेट में आ सकते हैं जो 0 से 2 के बीच में है, 0 to 2 years of work के बीच में।
हाँ, सो एक बार चेक कर लेना। मैक्सिमम एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा ना हो कि ज्यादातर लोगों के पास 2 ईयर्स, फिर आपके चांसेस
ठीक
कम हो
है।
जाएंगे। ठीक है ना, वो चेक कर लेना। तो इफ यू वांट, यस वी कैन हेल्प यू इन अप्लाइंग टू द ईओ प्रोग्राम, नो डाउट अबाउट दैट। एंड बट दैट विल बी ओनली वन प्रोग्राम। ओके। बिकॉज 0 to 2 ईयर्स में बाकी जो दुनिया के बी स्कूल्स है, उनका एक्सेप्टेंस,
हम्म
जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी मैं आपको बताता हूँ, जैसे आप आईबी लीग्स में देखोगे ना, तो आईवी लीग्स में कॉर्नेल is accepting at 2 to 5. Then you can look at this one, Yale. Yale का सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है. Yale बोलता है कि 55% of their students studying for their MBA program are at zero experience. 55% of their students. And only say 32% of their students will have 2 years of experience.
Oh my God.
Yes. And 13% of their students will have more than 2 years of experience. It's a statistical figure which is given on the Yale website.
Wow. So like, if I want to apply to Yale, I can
Yeah,
apply it right now.
we can right away. Right away, we can.
So I heard about Yale का SOM जो सिल्वर स्कॉलर प्रोग्राम होता है जो ग्रेजुएशन के साथ you
हाँ,
can
वो
apply.
तो डेफर्ड हो गया ना, वो तो डेफर्ड हो
That's
गया.
different. Correct. That's
तो
different.
उनका जो प्योर एमबीए प्रोग्राम है
Hmm.
उसमें वो लोग बोलते हैं ऐसा कि हम 0 to 2 हम एक्सेप्ट करें एंड जीरो हमारे पास 55% है. तो दिस मेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ सेंस. तो आईएसबी ईईओ येल देन प्रोबब्ली yes Columbia, if you look at their average experience in the last 2022 batch,
3
okay,
or 4.
6 months and above median experience. 6 months and above, they are
Oh,
open. Yes, they are open to accept 6 months and above. Okay, and I mean there are four essays that you have to write. So one is a
mm,
500 word, one is a 250, one is another 150, 300, and another 500. Then there are short answer questions which are for 50 words. Resume, your GPA, GMAT score, which probably should be above 700. Three recommendations, at least two, maximum three, and your transcript. This is what they require. If you're keen, there are doorways that we can knock.
also, I know this is like very much like hypothetical, but can I like after 2 years, can I is it like not so stupid to apply to a Harvard or a Stanford like or what?
Look, if you look at Harvard's average experience, it is 5 years because they prefer. I
Mm.
mean, they say that if you have 5 years of experience and 3 years of managerial experience, okay, that is what they consider. Now, in your case, how far do you think you are from a managerial capacity? So that
Another
is a
6 years.
6 years ना. तो यही प्रॉब्लम है, पता है, ये वाला प्रॉब्लम है, यहाँ अपन अटक जाए. तो अप्लाई करने से
Yeah,
कोई नहीं
but
रोक सकता.
that doesn't yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like the only reason I'm doing an MBA is for a faster promotion, right? Directly get on the top. If I have
Yeah.
to drag it down, it doesn't make sense.
So the logic is that certain MBA programs are not meant for uh, you know freshers or people who have been recruited like 1 or 2 years ago. These programs are meant for people who are looking to upscale themselves, upskill and upscale both actually. So for example, let's say आज मेरे पास 200 reportees है. To my next promotion, probably I'll be heading the country, or probably I'll be heading a state where probably I would be, taking reports of more than say 500 people. Now, how do I manage that capacity? It requires a different mindset. It requires a different ball game altogether. So the MBA program at Harvard or say Cornell, these kind of places, it is meant for people like us. So mid-level, employees who are in between say 5 to 7 years of work ex, who have gone through several turbulences in their life in terms of job challenges, and they have managed to come out very well. They have been able to contribute to the company's growth in substantial manners. These are the people who will be considered for these kind of programs. So it is not your fault. Don't think कि मैं क्यों नहीं अप्लाई कर सकता, मेरे में क्या कमी है. ये आप में कमी नहीं है, वो प्रोग्राम आपके लिए है ही नहीं, वहां से आप कुछ सीख ही नहीं पाओगे, है ना. सो द कॉर्नर आई मीन द Columbia program, the Yale program is definitely meant for youngsters like you, but the Harvard program or say the Wharton program is not meant for people. That is the requirement of work ex ना,
Makes
वहां पर आपकी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
Mhm. Makes sense. So basic qualification ही नहीं हो रहा तो what's the point?
हाँ,
Makes sense. Absolutely.
आपकी लाइफ में जरूरत नहीं है ना उसका. प्रॉब्लम ये है, वहां देखो एडमिशन मतलब मुश्किल है क्यों है मुश्किल? मुश्किल ये है कि आप, ऐसा नहीं कि आप अनक्वालिफाइड हो। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आपकी लाइफ में उस एमबीए की जरूरत है या नहीं है। जो प्रोग्राम का करिकुलम है उसकी आपकी लाइफ में वैल्यू ऐड होगा या नहीं होगा। If it is not adding value, and if as a professor or as an academic person, if I can understand, looking at your profile, that this is not going to add value to your life, then you are rejected. And the rejection is not because you are lagging something; it is because the program will not add value.
Makes sense. Absolutely true. True.
So that is how things are. Cornell is 2 to 5 years. If you want to note it somewhere, Cornell is 2 to 5 years. Okay, and Yale is 0 to 2, and yeah, rest and Columbia is 6 months and above. ये
It's
अपन
very
कर सकते हैं,
good to know that.
ये अपन कर सकते हैं, ये अपन कर सकते हैं।
Also,
ट्राइबल्स
just wanted to know, do you guys also help in GMAT coachings as well?
नहीं यार, एक्चुअली आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू, आई मीन वी आर मेजरली इनटू कंसल्टिंग, so we would not like to get
Okay.
into coaching per se। फिर क्या होता है ना, वो माइंडसेट हो जाता है, जिसको जरूरत नहीं है उसको भी पकड़ के अपन जीमैट कराएंगे, फिर बैठ
Hmm.
फायदा नहीं है फिर उसका। We will stay back in consulting only। However, I have people in place who can guide you in terms of your profile, in terms of your application, and can also help you to understand the finer nuances of the GMAT program or the test, and can judge you looking at your performances in your mocks as to how you should prepare, what are the strategical things that. So I'm talking about somebody who's been a GMAT trainer for almost say 15, 16 odd years, and today he works as a mentor for my students and helps them to achieve further achievements in their resume. It keeps on adding to their resume. So that kind of a thing he does. And then I have a team which helps you in doing your
What's his name?
essays and applications and all the rest of it. That is how
Is he a part of Pratham, or does he has an
it is.
independent
He
coaching?
has an independent presence, but he works alongside with us.
Can you? It'll be helpful because I think it would make more sense if I have a GMAT score in hand. So
Yeah,
I'd
sure.
love
So
to.
sure. So once we start working together, definitely I'll put you in touch with him. He's the only person that I have in mind when it comes to an MBA program. Okay. In fact, I have another gentleman who is an SP Jan pass out as well. So in case you plan to look at an MBA program in India, that person might be of help. In case you're looking at MBA program outside India, then this particular person who, as I told you, has been a GMAT trainer, will be of utmost importance for you.
Makes sense. That was very helpful, Ritesh.
तो
Thank
मैं
you.
एक काम करता हूँ, आपको मैं ये जो येल वाला मैंने आपको जो बताया और जो मैंने कोलंबिया वाला आपको बताया, I'll send you the exact links from where you can look at these figures। ठीक है, you have a look at it, थोड़ा ट्रस्ट बढ़ेगा। ठीक है, फिर उसके बाद आपका मन करता है that you want to get into this kind of a you know hands-on kind of a tie-up, then probably my team can take it forward।
Done. Makes sense.
Okay?
Thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome, thank you so much।
Thanks a lot. Okay. Thank you.